Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Agents of MACE. Today, we're discussing all of the flood of news that we got from the San Diego Comic-Con. All kinds of cool Marvel news, trailers, and surprise appearances, and the shows that are coming out. I mean, I told Elisa this before we started, but I've watched the She-Hulk trailer like 6 times, and every time I watch it, I'm like, man, I thought the shows up until now looked good. I kept having to remind myself it was a series and not a movie, because I was like, this looks way better than the shows we've seen so far. Not that they don't look good. I just felt like the quality all of a sudden bumped up.
Collectively, people seem to like the new She-Hulk trailer in terms, I guess, of the visual effects more than the first couple of teasers we got, which I watched it a couple of times, and yeah, it looks fine. I mean, I don't know, it's a little cheesy looking ish, but it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
But I mean, that one moment,
I'm ready to talk about it. So I don't know what you guys were thinking as far as starting off.
Well, I mean, I would just kind of approach this in terms of like the biggest way to piece all this together, which is it is now called the Multiverse Saga. Multiverse Saga is going to be Phase 4, Phase 5, and Phase 6. And we basically got an announcement that Phase 4 is pretty much at an end. We'll be wrapping that up soon. We kind of have the bulk of what Phase 5 will be. And then we got a little sneak peek of what Phase 6 is with all of these blank dates that we have no clue what's going to be within that yet. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like Phase 4 is going to end with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. That will be the final movie for that phase. So I'm interested in, I guess let's go ahead and talk about some of the movies that are coming up. Well, I guess the 2 movies that are coming up. I have not seen an Ant-Man trailer posted publicly by Marvel. I have seen a Ant-Man trailer from San Diego Comic-Con filmed on somebody's phone from a weird angle. And, those things are always a little suspect because most of the time you can see clips and stuff from other movies and you're like, all right, well, this is fake. This time I didn't really see any clips from other movies, so it may be real.
Well, yeah, I'm usually with a lot of these things, you have, fans that are there, reviewers, media, they'll share some of the highlighted moments. And of course, the big one is when Ant-Man meets Kang at the end and they have a conversation, and like that was kind of what I did watch. Yes, I watched the little leak trailer thing too. And that ending moment, I was just like, this is it. This is incredible. I'm curious to see if they will release the trailer early. I'm expecting it to release with Wakanda Forever, hopefully as a trailer and not as like a post-credit scene. I could see them going a post-credit route with this one. Because I feel like if you showed this before Wakanda Forever, it could take you away from that experience. Because I mean, it's going to be a cool. I'm excited for Ant-Man.
I'm interested in why. So let's dive into the Wakanda Forever trailer because we did get to see that.
Yeah,
I'm interested in why they decided to make Wakanda Forever the finale for Phase 4. Because it doesn't really seem to lead into Phase 5. Now, it could, very well. The movie could absolutely lead into Phase 5. But from what we saw in the trailer, it looks like Wakanda versus Atlantis. And we're going to get Namor, and there's going to be all kinds of battles underwater and in the water, and cool. Looks great. I don't know what that has to do with this phase as a whole, and so far the last movies of the phases kind of like wraps up the phase.
Yeah,
this just seems to be a movie.
And I'm glad they're approaching it that way, because my theory is that we're going to see Doctor Doom. I mean, we can just go ahead and talk about it. Like, I mean, all this stuff is public. I mean, we're leading to Secret Wars. Mm-hmm. We're leading to Kang. We know Kang is going to be in Quantumania. We know Kang is going to be a part of Secret Wars. But if you're familiar with Secret Wars, Doctor Doom is such a big part of that. I am expecting we will see Doctor Doom in Wakanda Forever, which is going to kind of take the approach in terms of like how they kind of trickled in Thanos. Like, I feel like that's what they're going to do with Doctor Doom, is we are going to see him and leading up to like knowing that he is a massive villain that we're going to have to deal with. And it's going to kind of kick that off. But it's going to be interesting because we'll just quickly transition over to Kang, and we're kind of building up to the Kang dynasty. So I don't know how they're going to play on these two characters. And keep it balanced, but that's what I'm hoping for. I hope they do that. I mean,
I know that, I saw a lot of people in the comments of the leaked trailer saying that right before you see Kang talking with Scott, you see somebody in like shiny armored boots, and like the camera slowly going up, and they have a cape on. Yeah. And it stops about their waist, and then it cuts to a shot of Kang's face. So I saw a lot of people saying that they think that those legs are Doctor Doom, and that he will show up in Quantumania.
Possibly. I did see that, but like when you look at it, like the armor is this kind of bluish color, not really like this metallic silver. So I'm expecting the person walking is Kang, but who knows?
I'm excited. Either way, I'm excited for Black Panther. I think it's going to be cool. It's very exciting that we're getting Namor, because that could lead to more mutant stuff down the road. And like, I'm all about this. Like, I feel like we're getting a lot of mythology lately in Marvel movies, with like Thor and Moon Knight, and now this Black Panther movie that will have Atlantis. So it's really exciting to see all that stuff. I am wondering, do we think that Atlantis is going to stay, I guess not Atlantis, more Namor is going to stay more of a villain character? Or do we think that this movie is going to kind of like introduce him as a villain, they fight, and then he kind of transitions over? Because in the comics, he kind of like drifts back and forth, right? Like sometimes he's a bad guy, sometimes he's a good guy. He just sort of floats around and does whatever he wants.
Don't know. I'm not really familiar with Namor and his story and kind of that approach. I was looking into Secret Wars. I know he's in Secret Wars in some part, but I guess the question is going to be, would he be more on the villainous side, on the hero side? Is he going to bounce back and forth? Is he going to kind of like try to one-up everybody and get his own way? Who knows? I don't know. Very curious to see what kind of story they'll give Namor.
Yeah, I don't know Namor, but it had... Wakanda Forever had like the best trailer. It was so good.
It was really good. It was really powerful too.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that with this leaked Ant-Man Quantumania trailer, we didn't get a leaked, the exclusive Secret Invasion trailer. That was something that happened. Or Guardians of the
Galaxy 3, because I heard that they had one of those at Comic-Con.
Yeah, and that is actually listed, like if you look it up, it says that the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer dropped. And it's like, well, I haven't seen that anywhere. And then they were like, oh, also there was an exclusive Secret Invasion trailer. Well, I mean, what about the, exclusive Ant-Man trailer that leaked almost immediately? Like, why can't we watch these other two trailers? I'm excited.
Yeah, when things like this happen as fast as they go out, I'm curious to see if any of these, if it's going to hit a point to where it's like, well, it's leaked out so much, so many people have seen it, we're just going to go ahead and release it, versus holding on to it to have more of a theatrical release, Like Secret Invasion, I haven't heard much about. Like I know there was talks of it there and announcements, but it seems like that's kind of low level on the list. Guardians has gotten a lot of talk.
Well, that one. I saw Chris Pratt had kind of a emotional feeling towards viewing Guardians for the first time, the new Guardians for the first time. So I don't know if this is maybe the end of the Guardians.
That's what he said.
It is, yeah.
So
yeah, they said this is the end of the Guardians story. What that means really, we don't really know. I would expect these characters, or at least some of these characters, will appear again. But yeah, it's going to be focused around Rocket, his creator. Yeah, basically everyone said it's extremely sad. The people that were there and watched it, kind of prepping everyone to like be ready.
I don't know if anyone played the Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy game, but there's a whole storyline that you play. You basically like play Rocket's memories of his creator's lab, and it's really sad even in that. So I can't imagine what this is going to be like to see it all on the big screen.
Yeah, it's very interesting when you're marketing this as like, this is all about Rocket and he's the saddest character in all of MCU.
It's also interesting because now we can sort of shift into the shows that were announced. But I Am Groot is coming out August 10th, I think. It's going to be 5 episodes, so just like a little mini series following Baby Groot doing his thing.
Didn't they say it's going to be a bunch of shorts?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
They also said that Bradley Cooper is going to appear as Rocket, and that they have plans for more episodes in the future, or more shorts in the future. So I'm wondering how this is going to tie in with Guardians, if it will at all, or if this is just some fun nonsense to watch. But
Is Vin Diesel still voicing Groot in this?
I don't know, since it's like young Groot. I don't know that it even matters at this point, because I had that same thought when I watched the trailer. I was like, is this just all like already pre-recorded, him saying I'm Groot a bunch of different ways, and they're just using what they want? I don't know, though. I am interested, though, because when I was watching it and I saw that they were going to do more, I was like, I wonder if they're going to drop the new season, I guess you would call it, of these shorts like right before Guardians comes out, as kind of like a one last push to get everyone ready for Guardians.
You could.
And we are getting the Christmas special this year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We're getting the Christmas special, but I've also heard we're getting the werewolf. What was that one called?
The werewolf.
They're Werewolf by Night or something like that.
Oh, yes. Yes.
What is that?
It's the comic that introduced Moon Knight. Which, I mean, could be interesting. I think if they're really leaning towards bringing in Doctor Doom, I think that will make it easier to tell these more like magical paranormal storylines, because they can introduce the Darkhold, and that's like a whole thing with Doctor Doom trying to get the Darkhold, and the Darkhold ties to, Blade and the werewolves and vampires, and so I could see that kind of spinning off into this darker MCU.
That's what we need. MCU needs to go darker.
We also got some, before we get into the animated stuff, we'll talk about She-Hulk news, Daredevil news, Thunderbolts news. Obviously, She-Hulk trailer dropped. I thought it was great. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's very colorful, even though, I feel like traditionally it's the newer like Thor and Guardians movies that are like super colorful, but this one seems to kind of pay homage to that. It's not like overly colorful, but it is bright. It also has a very strong, like, The Boys feeling, but not as dark and depressing as The Boys. But, you know, it seems to be that the storyline is all of a sudden all these random people are getting superpowers and they have to figure out how to deal with that. And so they create this firm of, I guess, lawyers to handle all of these super cases. So it looks funny, but it looks like, you know, they're approaching some of these things that as a viewer would be like, what about like when Hulk throws that guy through the wall? Like, who pays for that wall? Like, this seems to be like the answer to that. So
yeah,
I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, Wong's going to be in
Yep.
it, so very curious to see how big his role will be.
Get an Abomination again.
Abomination. And then, of course, you know, the internet exploded when you see Daredevil at the end.
So this is what I wanted to talk about. We all know Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
He's here. He's back. We know it. It's great. I don't know that was Daredevil. Because it's very obvious, right? It's red suit. It's the little batons. But we never see a face or a mask or anything like that. And I'm thinking that this is a trick. And that it's going to be... I don't know. Because there's somebody else to introduce. And it'll be a big surprise gotcha moment when we're all like...
Who do you think it would be?
I don't know. I've been going through that in my mind. Part of me was like, oh, what if it's his like sidekick, Blind Spot. But Blind Spot's suit is black and white. He doesn't really fight with batons, so I was like, maybe not. Then I started thinking, like, who fights with batons other than, you know, Yelena or Natasha? Then I was like, Mockingbird. And we've had that confirmed who she is, but is still not really sure about that because she doesn't really wear red. So I don't know. I mean, the obvious choice, yes, is Daredevil. But I just think it's weird that they would be like, yeah, it's Daredevil, but we're not going to show you that it's Daredevil. We're going to insinuate it's Daredevil.
Because when we get to that scene, what if we see Daredevil and Spider-Man?
That
But I don't think that.
unlikely,
Yeah, I don't
but
think
would
we
be very
can.
excited.
That would be incredible.
Because right now, Spider-Man's Sony property again. So I don't even know that we could see Spider-Man.
We don't talk about
You never
Sony.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
But I guess interesting. I mean, that would be extremely shocking if it ends up being someone outside of Daredevil, but I don't know. I'm going with Daredevil. I guess the other one that's been in the rumor mill is that we could potentially see the Thing from Fantastic Four. At least, is it Grimm?
Mm-hmm. Ben Grimm.
Ben Grimm. Like, we'll actually see Ben Grimm, who potentially may be a new cast. We may not be getting from the older movies, though it would be cool to see him in Secret Wars. But Jason Segel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, as Ben Grimm? All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. We'll be doing some martial arts.
Right. Pretty sure I need to find the source on that, but I know that's been talked about. But I don't know if anyone's firmly confirmed it, but man, if that happens, like that's a big one.
It is confirmed, I guess, because I just looked it up, that Charlie Cox's Daredevil will appear in She-Hulk. So
Yeah.
I just think that's real lame to insinuate that it's Daredevil, even though we all know it's Daredevil. Just show us Daredevil. But fine, I'm still going to stand by, though, that it could be somebody else. It could be like a copycat.
It could be. But, man, I think it would be so cool to see Spider-Man there as well with them. Because the only reason I'm saying that is because, like, the only Spider-Man news that we got was actually tied in with Daredevil in terms of their path going forward, is that they're street-level heroes. So I just think that's really interesting to kind of make a note of that. Like,
yeah, we did get a crossover between Daredevil and Spider-Man, which we'll talk about once we get to the animated stuff. But really quick before we pull away from live action, we got confirmation that there's going to be a Daredevil series. Thunderbolts was officially announced. Looks like the release date is going to be July 26th of 2024. Some other dates that we got were Ant-Man and the Wasp will be February 17th, 2023. Secret Invasion is spring of 23. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is May. That one has a date, May 5th. I think that it will probably get moved, but we'll see. That's 23. Echo will be in the summer of 23. The Marvels will be in 2023. That one also has a date, but it's in July 28th. So I don't know. The ones that have dates seem to be like really far away dates that I'm sure will move. Loki Season 2 is in the summer. Blade will be November 3rd of 23. Ironheart will be in the fall. Agatha, the Coven of Chaos will be in winter. Daredevil Born Again, which is the Daredevil series, that will be in spring of 2024. It says it will be 18 episodes. That would be amazing.
That's incredible.
I highly
The question is, are we getting hour-long episodes or like 30-minute episodes?
Probably 20 to 30-minute episodes if they actually do 18 episodes. I think what's going to happen is they're going to do 8 episodes and somebody read it wrong.
But don't y'all think that maybe since some of these series have been getting 9 episodes, that what they're actually telling us is that it's going to be essentially 2 seasons, but it's going to tell a complete story? That was my interpretation.
I'm into it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
I'm for it.
absolutely.
She-Hulk
Give
is
us all the
apparently gonna
content.
have 9 episodes.
That's give us
more
more.
and more. I just started watching. For all you listeners, I live in Texas, so I just now started watching Friday Night Lights, which I've never watched before. And the other night we were watching it, and I was like, "Man, is this still the first season?" And I looked it up, and we're episode 19 of the first season, and I was like, "This is what I'm talking about. Where is this? Where has this gone?" By 19 episode seasons. The other 2 dates that we got were Captain America New World Order, which is May 3rd of 2024, and the Thunderbolts, again, that's July 26th of 2024. Both of those seem very far out for them to have a solid date for release on.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just a goal of theirs that they're shooting for. I don't know. That kind of does it for the live action news. We can move on to the animated stuff because, man, oh man, there were some cool things coming out in the animated realm. We'll go ahead and start with the Spider-Man stuff first, which is Spider-Man Freshman Year. It looks like that is going to be where we get a Daredevil crossover because Charlie Cox is confirmed to be voicing Matt Murdock in that series. So I don't know if we'll get Daredevil necessarily in it, but we'll at least get Matt Murdock. From what I've seen, this series is going to be, I don't know how to word this. It's going to be air quotes canon to the universe, but it's going to be not necessarily the MCU universe. If that makes any sense at all.
No, it's basically no. This is where everyone's getting frustrated because from the stills that have been released, everyone's just like, how can you call this canon when you're like really taking what we've already seen and replacing characters? So it's like instead of meeting Tony Stark, he's meeting Norman Osborn, and I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah,
like what are they trying to do with this?
I think that they should instead of wording it the way that they worded it, they should have just said that this is going to be essentially a what if spin-off series that's this one story instead of a bunch of singular stories. It's this one story. It's a what if. because that's essentially what it is. It's what if
Yeah.
Spider-Man met Norman Osborn instead of Tony Stark, which we already know could not happen in our universe, because in Spider-Man, Norman Osborn talks about the fact that there's not a Norman Osborn there. So,
Yep.
I don't know. I think it's I think it'll be cool, definitely. And it's a great idea. I think they need to just let it be its own thing and not try to have any sort of repercussions with the MCU. I mean, Tom Holland's not even voicing Spider-Man in it. So,
do we know that?
the last thing I saw said that it was confirmed that he will not be voicing Spider-Man.
It might be the same actor from What If.
Yeah.
They could do that.
Which I thought he did a great job. I mean, especially taking a role that's so associated, at least recently, with a different actor.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that this series kind of exists because they want to make us watch Uncle Ben die again.
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, that's the only reason you watch Spider-Man, right?
We have to see it. We can't just know what happened. We have to see it.
Yeah.
They've also confirmed some other characters that will be included. We'll get to see Doc Ock, Chameleon, Rhino, Scorpion, and of course Norman Osborn. I love that Spider-Man's main villains are all animal themed. I want them to do it right, especially in an animated show like this. Like, go ahead and give me bulky Rhino. Like, you know, as much as I enjoyed the, like, trying to make it realistic in Amazing Spider-Man, where they give Rhino, like, a Rhino mech suit, like, I think that's cool for the live action stuff, because, yeah, it would look ridiculous if there was just, like, a super buff guy with a rhino horn on his head. But, I mean, just go for it. Give me, like, classic comic book version Scorpion and Rhino and Chameleon. You know, I think that they could do it in this series and it would look good.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I think it's interesting that they went ahead and already announced that this is getting a second season.
Yeah.
This among other shows. Like, what if these first seasons just bomb? Like, what are they going to do?
Got a plan.
They must have a plan.
Bring back Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That
Also, why has this got to come out in 2024?
They have to draw all the pictures.
Far away.
I'm sad that Loki's not coming out till next season. I know they're filming that now. They'll be done with that in a few weeks.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they've got a lot. See, that's the thing, though. They have a lot of things done.
Like the
is
Marvels
good.
is done.
Yeah.
We just have to wait for it.
Yeah, which is the worst
Ant-Man's done. Marvel's done. Like, yeah.
But we're going to
It's like kind of like your point. Yeah, but it, you know, like you said earlier, like a lot of these dates are probably going to change.
Yeah. Especially with, like, you know, emerging technology for CG and stuff. I'm sure, like, you know, by the time we get to the end of 2024, they'll be able to do something a little bit better than they could before. So they'll go ahead and, like, retweak that in the edit, I would assume. Unless it's
none
like
of
something.
none of these dates are moving up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that kind of was intriguing and interesting is like the images that were shared among the various animated shows all had the exact same animation style, like drawing style. So I'm wondering if that's accurate or if that was just to give you an example of like what we're about to see.
Yeah, I don't know. I assume that maybe they're trying to keep them all relatively the same because maybe they've like acquired some animation studio for Marvel, and
which makes sense. And in a way, it's kind of nostalgic if you think back, you know, when we had the days of like, you know, the Rugrats and Hey Arnold and Doug, and like there's like all of these shows that we grew up with that would have certain animation styles.
And it looks like they're very purposefully mimicking the style of the original X-Men series for X-Men 97. I mean, they kind of have to if it's going to be a direct continuation, but for sure. They're trying to make it look like that good old hand-drawn 8 frames per second.
Well, speaking of hand-drawn, we're also going to get a new X-Men 97. This series seems to pick up where the old X-Men animated show left off, which was Charles Xavier going to space. So it looks like instead of Professor X leading the X-Men, we're going to get Magneto leading the X-Men, and it's a cool looking Magneto. He's got his long hair. He's a little bit older. I'm interested to see if this is going to lead to... I'm interested if this show is going to be only X-Men, or if we're going to get, some Avengers characters showing up. If maybe this show would lead to X-Men versus the Avengers, or something like that. I mean, unless they're going to redo some of the storylines, the original X-Men series, I mean, they blew through, all of the big X-Men storylines. So... I don't know if they're going to redo some of those.
Retell.
Right. Or if they're going to give them all new things to deal with. I don't know. I'm excited. It looks really cool.
Yeah. I think what's going to be interesting with so much of this is how much influence could some of these have on future projects, especially live action projects. So I think biggest example would be What If, and especially with Doctor Strange, and so much of that feels like it was carried over into Multiverse of Madness in a way. Maybe not really, but there are moments that just kind of reflect on What If.
Yeah, and of course, What If Season 2 was teased.
And 3.
Yeah, and 3. And we're going to get a bunch of new storylines with a bunch of different characters, sort of like the first season. I think it's a lot of fun, but it is almost a little worrisome if they would start dragging stuff from What If into the main movies.
Yeah.
I think that how they pulled stuff in Doctor Strange was kind of cool, because it was more just I don't know, remember this? Remember Zombie Strange? Look, there he is. I think that's fine, but I think they have to draw the line of we're not going to pull stories. Even I think it was they talked about the fact that the Captain Carter that we saw in Doctor Strange was not the Captain Carter that we see in What If. It's a different Captain Carter. So again, I think it's cool because we know that character exists, and it's cool to see a version of that character, but I don't want to see Captain Carter from the multiverse show up in, or from What If show up in a MCU movie. I think it would just be too confusing to even imagine. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Too confusing to even imagine. That's the multiverse saga.
That is, that's the next three. Right? 4, 5, and 6 are all multiverse saga.
2.1.
So,
let's talk about the last. Maybe it's the last show or the big show now. So the one I'm super excited for, that I know you are. One my kids will probably be begging to watch, and I'll have to probably not let them. Marvel Zombies. They love the zombie episode in What If. I don't know if it's for the zombies or if it's just for Spider-Man being in it. He has a bigger role in that one.
I'm interested if this is going to be Marvel Zombies. I mean, we've already seen some art from it, and it seems to be the same What If style animation. I want to know if this is a continuation of that storyline, if this is its own storyline, or if it's going to be more of the comic storyline which is very violent and gruesome and dark. I don't know what we're going to get because this week Prey comes out on Disney Plus, or is it next week? Okay, so next week Prey comes out on Disney Plus, which seems like an odd pull for Disney Plus to have, but they're also branching out. They're putting R-rated movies on there, darker stuff.
We just got Deadpool 1, 2, and Logan this past weekend.
So it could be like dark adult animation Marvel Zombies. I don't know that they're going to do that. I think that they'll probably stick with generally how it was in What If.
From a quote, if you're nervous that the animated series might avoid the gorier aspects of the zombie battle, don't worry. Quote, we are not shying away from the things that made the comic book great, Windenbaum told the audience, adding that the gore is going to be a big part of what's going on. I'm expecting like
full Marvel Zombies. All right.
Yeah, full Marvel. That's what I'm expecting and hoping for.
There's a lot of stuff going on in Marvel Zombies. So I guess we'll see. I think it'll be fun to watch regardless. Especially if they go with like the later Marvel Zombies series, which shows Howard the Duck and Dum Dum Dugan teaming up to like fight off zombies. So we'll see, or even, I mean, Marvel Zombies, the series gets wild very quickly. They go from taking over the world to they eat Galactus, they get powers, they go to all the different universes. It's crazy. So they have a lot to do, as far as a storyline goes.
Yeah. I'm all for it. Bring it.
I did see some of the characters that were confirmed in it. It looks like we're going to get some return characters, but then we'll get some new ones as well. It looks like we're going to get a Carol Danvers. Who else was it? Oh, in the picture, there's a large shape in the background. So people are wondering if we're going to get we've already got Giant Man zombie, but if maybe we're going to get a new version of that, or if it's going to be somebody big like the Hulk or maybe Thanos. So it'll be interesting, I think.
I found the image. Yeah, it's really hard to tell who that could be.
Oh, Okoye is one of them. So it looks like we may be in Wakanda, or part of this at least.
I do like the lineup of heroes. I like
I did want to talk really quick about one of the What If episodes, which I hope spans to maybe 2 or 3 of the What If episodes. There's a series. Oh man, it's like Marvel 1896 or something. It's basically like colonial times Marvel.
So 1776?
Is that what it is?
I mean, that's the year that we gained our independence. So maybe?
That may be it. I know there's a series where this is going to be horrible. I thought that I would remember what it was, and then of course I forgot. Oh, here it is. 1602. That's what it is. Marvel 1602. It's basically like Pilgrims in America, but we get some of the superheroes showing up. Nick Fury, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, and then the villains that we get are Doctor Doom and Magneto that show up a couple times. It's a short series. I think it's only 2 or 3 comics. It's not very long. The main characters are Matt Murdock, Captain America, Nick Fury, and John Grey. So like a male version of Jean. Well, actually, I think it is Jean Grey, if I remember correctly. But she dresses like a man. Something like that. That is going to be one of the storylines that we get in the What If season. So I'm excited to see that. I think it'll be fun. I think it's a fun idea, sort of like the Gaslight series for DC, where it's like, yeah. I just think it's cool to imagine heroes in a completely different time than like this tech forward time we put them in now.
Yeah, I've watched that. There's a Batman film that's kind of set in that area. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that that's kind of what this will be like. I'm pretty sure the comic itself is a lot of talking. There's not a lot going on. It's a lot of discussion. So I'm hoping that we get a little bit more than that, but it'll be fun regardless. I think that is it for the announcements as far as the MCU goes.
Did we talk very much about them announcing the 2 new Avengers movies?
No,
we never really got into that, which is kind of how they're leading that the multiverse saga will conclude, which is the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, which Donovan and I were talking about this earlier this week of like Secret Wars it's got to be part 1 and part 2, right? Surely they're not going to put all that into one film.
Yeah, I would think so. Well, isn't Secret Wars a series?
No, Secret Invasion is a series. Secret Wars
Invasion.
Is the movie. I had thought that what they were meaning is it is split in 2, but the first one is called the Kang Dynasty and the second one is called Secret Wars.
Possibly, yeah.
Or it could be that Secret Invasion will be the other part 1, like, because if we think about these series so far, it is like watching a movie. I mean, really, it's like watching a couple movies because they're like hour-long episodes. But maybe that will be the part 1, will be kind of like the build-up, and then we'll get Secret Wars, which will be like the wrap-up.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan of the Kang Dynasty. That's a terrible name. I'm not about that. So if they could think up something else time related, I don't care. Just the Kang Dynasty. I don't know. It's not a great name. I'm excited for those movies, but at the same time not excited for them because they're just so far away. They're like, what's the point in like getting excited for that? It's gonna be another 2 years.
We don't know who the Avengers are anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you don't, but also, I mean, Secret Wars, you're multiple worlds on one planet. So like you're getting all of these various characters. We're gonna have like the Thor army, like Thor Corps, and
but again, like,
there's so much.
Will we get any of that?
Yeah,
or will
you
it be
just
like
never
the
know.
watered down version of it because they don't have the
Surely
rights or
not.
the time to introduce all of these things? I don't know.
Who knows, right? But I mean, you look at Phase 6, like we still don't really know what all's going to happen there because, like, there was zero talk about the mutants. Is that going to be part of Phase 6? Is that going to kick off Phase 7?
Well, and that's the thing that kind of bums me out is it seems like they're all gung-ho on introducing the Fantastic Four. I don't care. I don't care about the Fantastic Four. You have mutants.
I care.
Yeah, but they have all the mutants. Bring us mutants. Give us mutant stuff. Like, you're teasing it left and right, and then the only thing that you're giving us is a reboot of, not a reboot, but like a continuation of the 80s cartoon. Like, that's cool, and I'm excited. But give me a mutant movie. Or throw him in a movie. Or something, introduce him. Why are we, why are we taking so long? What are we waiting
Speaking
for?
of mutants, have y'all seen that there's now a huge campaign to get the kid from the TV show The Bear to play Logan?
Really?
No, what's
Yes.
the bear?
Oh, the Bear's really good.
Yeah, it's let me see, the Bear actor.
It's like a FX Hulu show.
Oh, okay, yes. I just saw that
Yeah.
show up on Hulu.
His name is Jeremy Allen White, and I've seen a lot of people saying that they really want him to be the Wolverine. Now that he's kind of blown up with this new show.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I would be cool with him being part of the MCU. Does it need to be Wolverine? I don't know yet.
It looks like he could be a cool, Pyro.
Yeah.
Bobby Drake.
Yeah.
Ooh. This is who he needs to be. Multiple Man.
Multiple Man?
Yeah. Jamie Madrox.
Okay.
Well,
see, this is like another thing I was like questioning Donovan about. Is like within Phase 6, could we get a Molecule Man film? Because I think he's a big part within Secret Wars.
I think that's where I'm having problems with getting ready for Secret Wars, is that it's so far out and there's so much that they need to introduce that it's like, does it matter at this point? Oh, well, that didn't work, but I sent a picture of Multiple Man in chat.
Potential security issue detected. Gracious.
Oh, well, all right.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, I see why it's a web page, not a JPEG. It doesn't matter. But there's just, I don't know. There's just so much that they need to do to set it up before we get there that I don't know. I don't care that much about it right now. I want to see all the stuff get introduced first and then go from there. Also, just give us mutants. I mean, it's not a difficult thing. It's not a big ask. You guys tease it left and right.
We will get mutants.
Maybe they'll just sneak in mutants here and there until we have a bunch of mutants.
If I have to wait until Phase 7 before there's a mutant movie, I'm going to lose it.
But, what if Phase 7 is, all mutants? You can't swing a grocery bag without hitting a mutant in
Then I'll
Phase
be
7.
mad that they didn't spread it out and it's too much mutants, and now I want Avengers. There's no winning.
It doesn't seem that way.
No, I'm just excited for it. I think that with everything that they've done with the 7 Avengers that we've had,
Yeah.
I think that they could do so many cool things with even a handful of the mutants. So,
Right.
but they have time. I mean, we're scheduled through 2024 basically, so we're not going to get anything newer than that for the next 2 years. So,
And who knows what they may try to squeeze in,
yep, with cameos or post-credit scene stuff or setup, all kinds of opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, was there anything that we missed that you guys wanted to talk about?
I feel like we covered everything. I mean, I guess my last note is, all of this stuff is exciting, but at the same time, I think I'm still I'm on the side of the fans where they've got to execute on all of this, because I have had so many issues with Phase 4. It's really been a struggle to see where Phase 4 is going and what the direction is. And I hope they can fix that, because I think that's a common concern is like the Wakanda Forever trailer looks incredible, but I hope that movie delivers and it's not going to be this very subpar conclusion to Phase 4 that leaves people just frustrated going into Phase 5, especially with Phase 5 kicking off with Ant-Man Quantumania.
Right.
I think that we can't forget that Phase 4 happened while there was kind of a massive pandemic, which I feel like threw some wrenches into stuff that would have ordinarily been pretty good. So I think maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, given like the plethora of talent that is involved with these coming projects, that they'll get it right.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
I realized I wasn't crossing my finger. Fingers crossed that did it.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for listening this week. I think next week we're going to continue. Well, no. Next week we're going to do Hulk.
Oh, yes. We have to figure out how to watch that.
To get us ready for
AMC Plus.
I was going to say, I think one of them, the bad one, is on Netflix.
Which one are we calling the bad one?
The Hulk?
The first one, yeah. Yeah.
It's on AMC Plus, and I think you can watch it on like Tubi TV or something. Like it'll be ad supported.
Tubi. Nobody has Tubi.
Should I get Tubi? I don't want it.
It's like free.
I still don't want it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so join us next week. It's on HBO Max. Well, The Incredible Hulk is.
The Incredible Hulk is on HBO Max.
Okay, good. I do have that one.
Yeah. Which I feel like we talked about that quite a while ago. Is like why did that one movie go to HBO and not
Makes no sense. No sense.
I don't get it.
But yeah, join us next week. We'll be looking forward to She-Hulk while talking about the bad Hulk and the okay Hulk. And of course, we'll talk about Mark Ruffalo's Hulk and, what they pulled from these other Hulk movies for that character.
Yep.
So, yeah. Don't forget, next week, same time, same Marvel channel. I don't have a one-liner for this week, but I think I'm going to continue with kind of asking you, the listener, for a question. So I want to know, anyone that watched all the trailers and saw all the news, or even if you didn't, take a couple seconds, go watch the trailers, look up the upcoming shows. What are you most excited for that's coming out in this next 2-year cycle? There's a lot to choose from, so let us know. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Later.